sweet. Hey guys, what is up? What's poppin'? Let's go is right. Let's see if maybe I can move. Move that up just a tad. Oh, wow, okay. Thanks, Abby. Becoming a member so quickly, that was fast. But I am doing great. Hey, Robin's here. What's up, Robin? Robin, I actually shot you a message about doing the thumbnail for this video. So how coincidental, right? Sorry to bug you, but thank you so much for being here. And Abby, thanks for becoming a member. That's so cool. Guys, I got a new microphone. And you know, basically, oh yeah, it is Father's Day, huh? No, I had already talked to my pops, so to speak. Soda poppin'. But yeah, talked to Dad. He's doing good. We actually just kind of met up for dinner. We met up for dinner for my birthday not long ago, so I didn't want to bother him too much with too many things to do, you know what I mean? Mr. Haunted, thank you for the $2. Good to see you back. New mic on point. That is good to hear. I'm glad. I basically, you know, for the longest time I had, you know, it still sounded okay. It was like a lavalier mic that was hooked up to my headset here. And I would say it was really good quality for a lavalier mic that's like $20. And it was nice because, you know, as I'm at my desk here standing up, I can like kind of maneuver around, and, you know, if I pull back from the mic, it doesn't like lose any sort of like bassy tone or whatever. But the only issue is that it picked up a lot of background noise, and kind of created a bit of a scratchy sound, as I mentioned before. Will it pass the garage door test? That's a great question. We should find that out pretty soon as my roommate comes home from work. That's funny. But yeah, this mic is cool. It's an AKG mic, XLR mic that's connected into a Zoom UAC2 interface, and yeah, it definitely removes a lot of the background noise just by itself. So I don't even need to do any sort of external program reversal or removal or anything like that. So that's pretty sweet. Gothic Rose with the 2 Canadians says, hope you had a great weekend. Joe, I did. It was a nice weekend. It flew by just like that, but it was great. And Brandon Young with the Buckaroo. Thank you, Brandon. Cameo with the $2 says, hey, love your stories and nice microphone. Thank you. Lils with the 2 says, chills. Yeah, Jensen does a great impression of Chills, so I just figured he could throw that in there at the end, and it was all in good fun. We love Chills. Dylan's a great guy. Caitlin Groves with the $2 says, love what you do. Thank you. New member. Welcome, Cameo. Thank you for joining. Didn't expect... I was kind of worried. I was gone for about a week, you know, getting things figured out with streaming, and just didn't really feel satisfied with my current streaming situation, so I basically just wanted to get this stuff ordered in, and then it came in, and just fiddling with that, getting it figured out. But I was kind of nervous that people such as yourself, Cameo, becoming a member, and everybody becoming members pretty frequently recently, I didn't want to let anybody down. Obviously, we're still doing the normal horror narration content, but yeah, I also want to keep up with the streams so you guys can rely on that, you know. Did I just crack my knuckles? I may have. You might have picked that up. That's funny. Did I read Bellatrix, or did I read yours? Thank you for the 2 Aussie buckaroos. Says, how was your weekend? It was good. I think I may have read it. I get sidetracked here. The only issue is that, like, basically I have my recording microphone that I've used forever, the old reliable H4n microphone, which is actually a field recorder, which is kind of hilarious. And then on almost stacked on top of that, hey, there's Jensen saying the mic is making him moist and wanting. That's good. That was the whole plan all along. But they're kind of stacked on each other, so it's sort of like half blocking my view of the screen, so I really have to like strategically have my windows set appropriately so I don't get thrown around here. Miss Molly with the $3. Mike sounds good, my dear. Happy Father's Day, Doink Daddy. Yeah, thank you. And as you can see, as I pull away, like it definitely sounds a bit different when I'm back here, but as long as you can still hear me, it's not going to be as bassy as I get close to your earlobes here. Tiny Green Turtles, thank you. Welcome back. And says 5 with the $5. Says sounds great. And no more scribbles. Now I have to find something else to trigger you with. This is true. I get triggered so easy anymore. 2019 trigger culture has infected my brain. New member, welcome Lils. Lils, thank you for becoming a member. This is cool. Everybody's... I'm wondering, does anyone know if I can put out more than just a few emotes? Like, because I think depending on the tier of member that you become and how long you've been around, you get certain emotes, which I feel like I've filled the quota on that, but I'd like to just like put a bunch in each tier, and I wasn't sure if that was possible. Black Lucha with the 5 says, hey bro, where did you get your astronaut image and instrumentals? Oh, the one in the background right now is actually from Robin Mikalsen. He is a fantastic artist. He's down below. His link for his Instagram and other pages are down below in the description if you want to. He's always, you know, looking for freelance work and all that kind of stuff, and I have a lot of respect for him. He's done so much for this channel, such as what you see in the background and what you'll see during the stories and all sorts of, you know, other amazing edits. And he also does a lot of the thumbnails for the theme videos, so that's been really cool. So that's what, and then the background music is actually just a mix. It is on the channel No Copyright Music Free Audio Library called Chill Lo-Fi Hip Hop Beats, and it's like kind of like a pink sunset and a guy like standing on the ledge, just chilling. But yeah, that's free to use if you ever want to use that for your streams or whatever you're doing, which is cool. Shadow09 with the $2 says hello from Guatemala City, Guatemala. Good stuff. Thank you. That's cool. Got people all over the world. Hey y'all. But yeah, good to see you guys. And I got a little countdown up in the corner there, just to chit chat for about 20 minutes before we jump into these stories. These are going to be some stalker stories. Ashley Wilson with the big $20 donation. Ash was also featured on my Instagram here with some merchandise. So if that looks appealing to all y'all, be sure to jump on board. And if you wanna model the shirt, I'd love to post your pictures on Instagram as well, showing off the new gear. There's a few different designs we've included recently, so, and by we, I mean people have been helping me create designs. It's been awesome. But thank you, Ashley, for the 20. Says, shout out to the roosters, XOXO. Yeah. Chickens in the yard. My roommate got some chickens. And they're pretty cute. It's funny. It's like every time you come out the door, you see them like run to the edge because they want food. And then you try to pet them, and they are pretty nice and stuff. But they sometimes will peck at my fingers thinking it's little worm food or something. Nikki Marie, what's my Instagram? It's down in the description below. It says it's letsread.official. Yeah, Tyler, grab some merch, my friend. Got some cool shirts. I'm hoping whenever I'm going to VidCon here in July, so I'm hoping to rock some merch shirts that people will be, if people know the channel, they'll be able to recognize it from the shirt, which would be sweet. Miss Bellatrix are the best stalker, never gets caught. This is true. Oh, that's the Let's Read skull image. I thought those were bananas. For some reason, I thought you were putting bananas. And I was like, every good stalker lays down bananas to trip up their pursuers. But I'm hoping these stories are good. They were kind of pulled together last minute, so I didn't have a lot of time to sort of vet them in the same fashion that I normally do. Jen says, I have changed all the sounds on my PC to play Joel's voice. Hour of editing audio and exporting. Now my PC has achieved God tier. It's also searching through your history right now and calling the police. Missy Joy, yeah, you could, if you went to VidCon, which is in Anaheim, California, you might even, if you see me there, come up, say what's up. You might get to see my face. I promise not to wear a mask. I feel like that would be really awkward. If you guys have gone to the extent to catch me at a con, I think that more than deserves some facial revealing. Cameo with the $5 says, I can't wait. I love your stories. Always gives me the chills. Now check out the merch too. Nice, thank you. Hardcore support today, guys. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out the nice little situation with the microphone here. Basically, I have like a desk and then like another stand-up desk like extension on the top. So I might have to bring this like microphone arm up to that to connect, and then almost have like the mic, you know, did you ever see it where it like comes down in front of you? Like almost dipping down like a bat hanging off the ceiling. Molly, yeah, I don't know what to expect from VidCon. I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm going to do something here with my mic real quick, and I want you guys... oh, the video lags on the streams. I was hoping that it wouldn't, Norma, because I have it set to like the least straining on people's systems, I suppose. So I'm not real too sure. But I'm going to do something to my mic that's actually going to kind of turn up the bassiness a little bit. But yeah, if you lower the video quality overall, that might help as well. Yeah, not on like HD or whatever, because as long as you can hear the voice, I suppose that's all that matters. But I'm gonna do something real quick, and you guys let me know if that bassiness makes it uncomfortable or better. Okay, so now kind of change things around here, so it's basically, it makes the audio quality more bassy, And I don't know if that sounds good to you guys or if it's I don't know if that sounds good or not. Scary true stories about feet. Yeah, we're a few more years. I'll probably be at that point. That desperate. It sounds better? Oh, you think it's better? Okay. Oh, let's see. Okay, you getting the ear tingles. That's what I was curious about, because a lot of people gotcha bass. That's kind of what I felt whenever I heard it at that setting. That's like the bass setting, but the other one kind of like helps eliminate as much receiving bass or something like that. Ending my video with Happy Daddy Day. I could do that. Happy Daddy Day to all you daddies out there. Daddy do ya. Sweet. Sounds better. I like the sound of that. Some people, like, with bass, it kind of messes with their ears a little bit. The new mic is an A... Actually, let me find the exact term here. AKG... Yeah, AKG K240. Make sure that that's the right one. Oh no, looks like those are headphones. Let's see. Oh yeah, AKG C214. Large diaphragm condenser microphone. So it is an expensive microphone, but I figured, hey, you guys have been so generous with helping support the channel, and you know, it's essentially my small business here is running this channel. So I'm like, I gotta invest back into the system here, and you know, not give you guys, try to give you guys the best I can, the best I got. Any advice for new narrators? I would just say try your best to like network, leave comments on, you know, don't leave obnoxious comments, but leave comments on other narrators' videos to let them know you exist, kind of become part of their community. Try and, you know, hone in your creative flow, like your workflow, to kind of a really good system where you can put out content pretty consistently that your audience can look forward to on a regular basis and build up your library that way, but also so it doesn't like burn you out or whatever. Mickey is in the house testing testicles. But yeah, it's it is tough sometimes, like getting started. And the one thing about like the narration community is that it's very saturated to the point where if there's not something extraordinarily new being brought to the table, there's not something extraordinarily new being brought to the table, it could definitely have you know, not much of a net effect to pull in subscribers and stuff. So trying new things is always really good, like just stuff that you're interested in, like making little mini documentaries about stuff, like actual like video production and things of that nature, just trying to be different, you know. And I can't say that I necessarily have achieved that, but I was really fortunate that to kind of get into the game when I did, and jump into the true scary story stuff when I did, and all that kind of stuff. Natalia with the $20 says new Adidas tracksuit fun. That's true. I'm gonna be the part of the Slav life. But thank you Natalia. I appreciate that. $20. That's huge. Julia, you're from Hawaii. That's awesome. I just had one of my Discord mods move to Hawaii, and she seems to be loving it so far. Oh yeah, don't forget to like the stream if we can get to About 300 people starting out, that'd be dope. Which we are at right now, so that's perfect. And our countdown timer has just come to a close, so I think it's about time to make the switch over to some spooky dooky stories here. And just let me know if the spooky music in the background and that kind of thing is too loud, too much for the ears, or overbearing. Somebody dropped a dislike. You're always gonna have one or two trolls in the mix. Me being one of them. Texas. Spoopy poopy. I took a spoopy poopy. So all these stories revolve around stalkers. Like I said, some of them haven't been vetted to the extent that I normally would, I suppose. So if any of them are too bad because I haven't really gone through them, just let me know. And we might not include it in the video, but I think most of these should be okay. I started testing reading one of them earlier, and it was almost like it wasn't even written in English, so that was kind of tough to get through. So hopefully, yeah. Gothic said the music in your videos are pretty subtle. Yeah, I think that's usually the best way to go about it, you know. Do music that's subtle in a sense that's not going to be interfering. I really love Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse, who is playing right now. They are, you know, copyright free to use for any videos as long as you give them credit and that kind of thing. But a really talented dark ambient artist that puts out, you know, if your videos are only like 20 minutes or something, you know, you could essentially use one of his hour-long dark ambience and make 3 videos out of that, you know. Oh, Dag Warren, that was Jensen from the last video. He's got it down pat. Shane, you want to do a heckin' narration? Yeah, give it a whirl, man. And now I know how to pronounce Cthulhu. Cthulhu. I think it was almost supposed to not be pronounceable, a lot of the stuff, because it was, you know, what's his name? H.P. Lovecraft was trying so hard to be the most edgy man possible. Horror so horrifying, it horrified the brain. Phlegathon. Oh, okay. Is Phlegathon music free to use as well? Because I really love Iron Cthulhu as far as their music goes, because when he makes music, it doesn't really like change too much in emotional tone, so it's not distracting, whereas something like some of the other stuff that a lot of people used in the past tended to kind of just, it wasn't very long, or it would just, you know, get really Cthulhu. Yeah, Cthulhu is good. Other people say Cthulhu, Cthulhu, like they're just spitting. Who would win in a fist fight, Poe or Lovecraft? I don't know. Probably Poe. Poe seemed a lot more angrier than Lovecraft, even though Lovecraft seemed a lot more internally angsty and judgmental. I'm a 45-year-old male who lives in a small rural community in Wyoming. I believe there are only about 6,000 people that live in my community. You would never imagine in a town as small as this one that anybody would have to worry about having a stalker. Or at least, I didn't think so. That was until, much to my horror, I discovered I had one. Let me preface this by saying, until I became a published author back in 2013, I was just another friendly face in the crowd, so to speak. Granted, I am well known in my community because I work at the local hospital and have for many years. At the time, I was working as the training coordinator for the front office staff. Shoot, gonna be honest, I have like a weird feeling that I've already read this story, and that would kind of blow. Does anyone recognize this story at all? I might just read it again. I'm not really absolutely 100% certain. It just sounds familiar. But I have. Okay. I've read this one. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know how this snuck by me. I guess I got these from a friend, so they may have received the same sent-in stories from other people. Crap. Son of a crap. Well, that's fun. Read it again. Let's read it again. Just a good warm-up, you know, for you guys. At the time, I was working as the training coordinator for the front office staff for our medical clinic as well as the hospital. Getting my first book published generated a great deal of press in my hometown and statewide. The fact I quickly rose to a 5-star rating on Amazon only generated more press and interviews, therefore more attention. Then, when my second book came out in 2015, all of a sudden I was like the local celebrity. Being somewhat humble, I was appreciative that the public helped me sell a lot of books, but I was uncomfortable with all the attention. Local folks would come to the hospital just to have me sign their books. This is where my stalker story begins. On this particular day, I am up in our medical office building where I was training a new hire when a rather large biker dude with long, stringy blonde hair and covered in tattoos approached the front counter where I was standing. I smiled and greeted him with a warm hello and "How can I help you?" I was under the impression he was there to check for an appointment. He smiled and admitted he did not have an appointment that day, but was wondering if I could autograph the copies of my books that he had with him. Not wanting to be rude, I said that I would be more than happy to, and had him follow me down to the end of the counter so that we would not be in anybody's way. To be honest, I was a bit surprised he brought them, considering they were gay-themed supernatural thrillers. I guess he just did not strike me as the type of guy that would read anything that was gay-themed. Regardless, I thanked him for purchasing the books and signed them for him. He thanked me and left, and I didn't give it any more thought. Until a few weeks later, he showed up at the hospital where I was again at the front desk doing some training, and asked me to sign 2 more books that he had said he had purchased for a friend. I again thanked him and signed the books. Fast forward a few months, and I am filling in as the receptionist for one of our other clinics in a small town about 30 miles away from my hometown. The receptionist scheduled to work had called in sick that day, and so I agreed to fill in for her. I was shortly... Sirius with the 229 says, "Hey, let's read. Have you played Silent Hill 2? I haven't played Silent Hill 2. But it was, I heard it was pretty good. Honestly, I haven't really played like any of the Silent Hill games. Oh, you heard this with B-Busta. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of crosses the barrier of many narrators, because I feel like I even am familiar with who this person that submitted the story actually is, being a pretty big fan, and them being pretty outspoken on Twitter about being a fan. So, a really good person, but also, I believe, is a subscriber to many different narration channels and stuff like that, so that wouldn't surprise me if this story permeated to other narration channels. It was shortly after lunch when guess who walks in with both my books in hand? None other than Mr. Biker. Being at work, I remained polite and again signed his book, and he was on his way. Feeling truly creeped out and concerned, I spoke with the nurse on duty as well as the provider and expressed my concerns. They dismissed it as none other than an obvious fan who must have a little crush and nothing more. I figured they were probably right and went about my day. The weeks went by. I began to notice this large guy hanging out in front of my house and in the back alley behind it. He always wore a hoodie, and so I could not see who it was. I pointed this out to my husband, who reminded me that with the house up for sale, he was probably just someone who was either interested in buying it or a looky-loo. Then one day, my mother, who lives right across the alley from me, called me while I was out of town on a book tour to tell me some strange guy in a hoodie was casing my house and peering in the windows. I told her it was probably a potential buyer and not to worry about it. Fast forward a few months, I am back at the medical office building in our urgent care training another new hire when I get a call from one of the girls in central scheduling. She tells me she has a guy on the line who keeps calling, asking for me, but refuses to identify himself or why he needs to speak to me. Thinking it was a patient that had an issue of a more sensitive nature, I told her to go ahead and patch him through. Introducing myself, I asked how I could help him. I quickly discovered that he was not needing an appointment, nor did he have any medical concerns. He began telling me how he was naked and touching himself. He wanted me to know that he was thinking of me, and he began to tell me all the sick and twisted things he was going to do to me if he ever got me alone. I was thinking, oh my God, what is wrong with this guy? I was actually flipping out at this point, but somehow Stale managed to keep my voice calm and inform this idiot to never call me again, otherwise I would notify the police. Unbeknownst to the clinic manager, who was standing behind me, and asked me what was going on. I explained the phone call and what the creep had said. The manager was Whoops. Oh yeah, these, pride stories. I guess this is a better time than ever to bring that up, you know what I mean? Also, it's kind of interested because I have one mic near the other mic, but I guess it's when you bring a mic near a speaker that, that they start to create like that interference sound or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I guess thankfully that's not occurring. What's my favorite genre of horror? Ghosts, deliveries, stalkers. I would say ghost stuff. Ghost stuff's not quite as popular on my channel as the stalker stuff, and true scary story stuff, but I definitely think the ghost, especially like skinwalker things and Native American superstition and culture and that kind of thing, definitely has me most interested. Also, like Bigfoot stuff is really cool. The manager was concerned and felt we needed to notify the police immediately. I met with a few officers and explained what had happened. They asked me if I might know this person, and at the time I had no clue who it was. The next morning I received a call from a local detective who asked me if I would stop by his office before I went to work. He said he had more information on the guy who called me the day before. I agreed to meet him and called the clinic manager to let him know what was going on, and that I would be in as soon as I was done talking with the detective. Upon reaching his office, I was invited in, and the detective got up from his desk and shut the door. He informed me that they did a search of the number the guy called in from and came up with some rather disturbing information. He went on to explain that after learning who the guy was, the detective had done some digging, including interviewing some folks this guy associates with. What the detective told me next made all the hair on my body stand on end and sent my heart crashing to the floor. I was informed this guy had been watching or stalking me for over 6 months. Not only that, but he believes the guy had been in my house. I was shaking with fear and finding it hard to breathe. I began to pace the floor of his rather small office. I explained I don't even have a clue who this guy is or what he looks like. This is when the detective turned his computer monitor around and showed who it was. Lo and behold, it was Biker Dude. My blood ran cold and I felt like I was going to pass out. When I could collect myself, I began to explain how he had been in my yard, the front and the back. He had been sitting in front of my house on the street. I also told him I had seen him walking up and down the alley between my mother's house and mine. The detective informed this guy was... Whoops. Alright, Cameo with the $5. Thank you, Cameo. It says, ghost stories I can't listen to. I have nightmares for weeks. That's funny. Yeah, they definitely are. Maybe that's why people avoid them. They're actually just too scary. Yeah, ghost stuff freaks me out. I feel like every time I walk out of my bathroom, I always kind of like... Because I come out of the hallway and it's only one door down to my bedroom to the right, but to the left is, you know, a long kind of dark hallway going into the living room kitchen area, and I just tend to avoid looking that direction, just out of the generic childlike superstition that runs through my mind that one time I'm gonna look, it's gonna be some bogeyman. The detective informed me that this guy was a well-known gang and drug dealer from California and has been living in my hometown, dealing here for a year now. He told me I needed to make sure all my doors and windows are locked at all times and always have somebody walk me to my vehicle and to never go anywhere alone. He said this guy had been accused of threatening to hurt witnesses in previous drug offenses and that this is why he was still on the street, so to speak. Then, much to my surprise and horror, the detective asked me if I would be willing to befriend this guy and help the cops set up a drug sting operation. I was mortified and angry to say the least. I told him I needed time to absorb all of this and get back to him. My manager and the CEO of the hospital met with me when I got to work that day, and I told them everything. An organization-wide email went out with the guy's picture, along with an alert asking that the COE, clinic manager, and I be notified if the creep was spotted in any of the facilities. We are a small hospital, so to speak, so we have no security. And 2 weeks went by and things seemed to calm down. My husband and I had gone out for the evening, and I reminded my roommate that if he left the house, to be sure all the doors were locked. All the doors were locked. The Reaper, are you asking what type of mic this is? It's, what is it? AKG, what did I say? AKG something. AKG something, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know. Would you mind befriending this creepy drug dealer that wants to kill you and stalk you? It's gonna be real chill, I promise. Okay. Crybaby, is YouTube a career or a hobby? It is my career, I guess. My job, my full-time job. And do I write? I like writing, but I don't really write. I need to do more sort of creative outlets like that, instead of just playing video games and stuff. Going to the gym is fun, but it's not quite as satisfying, I guess, creatively. Mickey, well, my bathroom is in my master bedroom, but the guest bedrooms and bathrooms scare the poop out of me. I agree. Bathrooms are just generally creepy at nighttime. And it's weird because you kind of just like get that chill that goes through your body, like you're sensing something. I mean, maybe it's just me, but it's weird. Louise Sosis, Mr. Let's Read, you're rad. I learned about your channel because of Scat Rat, who has subscribed to you. Oh, I've never heard of Scat Rat. Is Scat Rat a spooky channel? Or a YouTuber, I suppose? I don't play Fortnite. I've never been a big fan of Fortnite. I was kind of interested in it whenever it came out, when it was being advertised as the sort of tower defense type game. What's like Save the World mode or whatever. But not too interested in the battle royales, and unfortunately the sort of trend that it's created amongst shooters in the sense of doing battle royales. It's just, I don't know, I'm not really into that too much. I like the idea, and it's cool that they've done that, but it's kind of like back in the day when Call of Duty 4 inspired everybody to do like leveling up systems for shooters, which is just kind of lame. Ever worry a livelihood spent with creepy stories will affect your mental health over time? I don't really think so. It doesn't affect me too much. I definitely am maybe more aware of my surroundings as I go places, but I just never really felt scared, I guess. How old am I? I just turned 29, so that's been interesting. My husband and I had gone out for the evening and reminded our roommate that if he left the house, to be sure all the doors were locked. We had already made him aware of the situation. He had seen the guy sitting in front of the house on several occasions, but just shrugged it off. I need to get out of here for a bit because I felt like a trapped rat. It was a great night, and for a while I was able to forget about it all. Upon returning to the house, much to my relief, the front door was still locked. I walked through the house to the back door, and it too was locked. Our roommate was sound asleep in his room, and I breathed a sigh of relief and made my way to the bedroom. As I walked into the room, I noticed my husband was reading something, and he was white as a sheet. I asked him what was wrong, and he handed me the sheet of paper, saying that this was under your pillow. Then he got up and began looking into the closets and under the bed. He then went through my entire house while I read on in horror. The letter said, "Hello, sexy. Nice house. I love the smell of your pillow. I hope you don't mind, but I borrowed a few of your sexy things. I will return them when I have added my own scent to them. Don't bother contacting the police. I know when your mother is alone. And I know your roommate's schedule as well as your husband's. By the way, your roommate is a very sound sleeper. I'll be seeing you soon." I called the police, but they said that there was nothing they could do since he was no longer in the house and I could not prove it was him because he never signed the note. I was pooping bricks because I could still not figure out how he had gotten in. Another few weeks goodbye. Oh, there's the garage. Can you guys hear it? Also, I feel like my nose is clogged up, so it keeps like, I don't know if you guys ever get this. You probably don't notice because you're not like stuck in front of a microphone all the time, but I feel like my nose keeps clicking, kind of. It's kind of as I talk. David Huete. Love vids, tons man, yours and B-Buster's been watching you both for 3 years now, going on 4, all through my school years. Really love him, man. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, David. Absolutely, that's crazy. All 4 years been on the channel. See, that's really cool to me because sometimes I think about like during high school, I think of, you know, how long time felt from like freshman year to you know, senior year or whatever. And, you know, just the things that changed or I did, you know, like freshman year was when Halo 2 had come out. And then if I was still playing Halo 2 by the time I was a senior, if I knew people that were doing that, I'd be like, oh my god, that game's so old and dead. Why are you still playing that one? So it's good to see that the novelty of this channel is not worn off for you. Do I listen to my scary stories on my own time? And if you do, which stories? And if you don't, you should start. That's true. Dude, my nose is so clogged right now. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab something to blow my nose here. Okay. IR back. Hey, we're at like 400, over 400 people right now. That's pretty solid. It's so weird because, like, the worst part about having a clogged nose is that if it does, like, make weird, gross, snotty clicking noises or something like that, the microphone that I use to record will almost using my cat to blow my nose. Yeah, he wouldn't even care. That's the funny thing. But my stupid mic will most definitely pick up the sound because it's just so sensitive. I don't know if you could hear it during the stream or not, but I learned from my dentist, I think my dentist, maybe other people, but that it's my sinuses are huge, giant sinuses, biggest you've ever seen. Tell you a dad joke. Okay, I learned this joke, actually it's not, maybe not necessarily from a dad, but it was told to me by a 10-year-old, so it's pretty much the same type of humor. But he said, why was it so hot at the baseball game? Because all of the fans left. Funniest thing. Oh no, not my mic that I use to record is different than the one I'm streaming on right now. It's over, mannequin. With the $5 says, what type of stories scare you the most? And I hope you get better soon. No, oh yeah, I'm not sick. I just I don't know. I think I'm just dehydrated, you know, where like it's not enough water today, so the snot that already exists in my nose is solidified. You guys want me to go into real big detail about my snot, don't you? But yeah, definitely. We were talking about that earlier. The ghost stories are definitely my favorite, and all the paranormal stuff, just weird stuff, I like the most. Dreamer Gem, gotta go, but it was good seeing you. Later. 10 true clogs. Oh, maybe allergies. I don't know. I just need to drink water and just. Did you ever use those with the neti pot or whatever it is, where you just CrossFit did not protect me from the common cold. No matter how powerful it's made me, that's the one weakness that still shoots me down. It cured my cancer, but aside from that, JK. How did you get remonetized? I thought YouTube banned you. No, worldwide. They didn't ban me. What happened was, so a lot of narrators get hit by what's called reused content, which is like basically a robot analyzing a bunch of data from a bunch of channels and other aggregated websites. Worldwide, you need to just chill, dude. Just chill. Chill. But yeah, so they aggregate a lot of data, a lot of metadata. That's why whenever you see YouTube videos, it kind of automatically creates like a transcript, like the closed captioning stuff. They can take that data, compare it to other websites. This is from what I heard. It's not even like, you know, official YouTube answer. So take this with a grain of salt or pepper, whatever you decide. Paprika, I don't care. But basically what ends up happening is if they notice that your content sort of matches up directly with other metadata as far as the you know, as far as what you're putting out compared to somebody else or other websites, to combat that, they just demonetize channels thinking that they're stealing content from websites without permission, even though our community, the way that we get content from other websites like Reddit, is getting permission. So I was obviously infinitely grateful to you guys for making noise to let them know that, yo, YouTube, this isn't cool. My narrator homie Let's Read just got demonetized, and it's so crazy because some people some people literally have, you know, narration channels had to wait like months more than a month, you know, to get their channel back to monetized status and that kind of thing. Afrin is the best nasal spray if you want your nasal passages open and breathe. That's a good, I'm gonna have to check that out. Maybe I have to just take a line of that before every stream or recording session. Eve with the $10 says, I love listening to these stories. They help a lot with my stress and anxiety. Thank you for doing this. Absolutely. Thank you, Eve, for the 10 spot. Worldwide, please do a face reveal. You're going to have to come to VidCon, my friend, or a little bit easier. Let me see if you're bald. You'll never see if I'm bald. But yeah, I got pictures of me on Discord, so go join my Discord. It's down below. If there's any mods here right now, maybe they can link it, or somebody can invite you. Is Let's Read balding? That's the biggest question of the day. BuzzFeed, 2019 article, smear campaign, is Let's Read balding? A balding male? Is he even male at all? But yeah, my roommate is currently taking a shower, and you can kind of hear the water going through the pipes right now. So I'm gonna have to just wait a second before jumping back into the stories. Mean Poutine, you can join. Maybe I can link it. Well, actually, yeah, let me bring up Discord and then I'll just link it in the chat 100 times. And Dandelion Doll says I'm a sexy mofo. Thank you. Can confirm. Sexy, also a mofo. Combined into one, you've got a very powerful being. Okay. Opening Discord. Here to mine. I'm going to invite people. Clicking the invite people button. Okay. Let's see if this works. Do you have kids? Happy Father's Day. I do not have any kids. Maybe one day. Definitely like kids a lot. They're great. They're great human beings. Alright, so I've linked the Discord about 5 times there. If you guys have Discord, you can click it. Pretty baller place to hang out. A lot of nice people there. But a fair warning. It's a drama free zone. So please don't be dramatic. Don't cause drama. Don't be about that drama. Because we ain't about that drama. Gaming Freak 6911 with the $1. Thank you, Gaming Freak. Pradeep is going to hiss at you for saying you have no kids. Oh, that's true. What about me? What about me? Yeah, so Discord is an application. It could be worth it because it's way better than Skype, I think. Drama Llama. We all about that Drama Llama Mama. Another few weeks go by and I begin to realize I am seeing him everywhere. At the grocery store, the pharmacy, I mean everywhere. He was always there lurking in the distance. It had gotten to the point I was now on medications to help me sleep and antidepressants because I felt like I was losing my mind. I couldn't function because the cops kept saying they could do nothing about it unless he harmed me or was caught in my home. Sitting in front of it for hours on end or in the alley apparently is not illegal. And this went on for over a year. Where I work a professional job, I maintain my bubbly outward appearance in public, but hid like a timid little mouse behind locked doors at night, too afraid to leave my house. One night about 6 months ago, my husband and I awoke to lights flashing and people hollering outside. It sounded like they were right outside on the front lawn. Peeking through the drapes, I discovered that they were indeed right outside. They had some guy on the ground ordering him not to move. The fire department was there putting out a large 15-gallon gas can that had been lit on fire and placed on my front step. We went through our robes and rushed... We threw on our robes and rushed outside where we have met my... We threw on our robes and rushed outside where we have met my several We threw on our robes and rushed outside where we were met by several police officers. They had the biker guy on the ground in cuffs. One of the officers informed me of the neighbors across the street reporting a suspicious character lurking in my front yard, and they were carrying what appeared to be a rather large gas can. The officer also pointed out that all the tires in my car had been slashed. He went on to explain that the biker dude had placed the gas can on my front step and lit it on fire. My heart was pounding so hard in my chest I thought I was going to literally die of a massive coronary right there. I lost it and broke down sobbing. My husband, on the other hand, blew up. He was beyond angry. I was too, but I was too overwhelmed with the fact that our neighbors had not been up. Let's read your bald. This is going to end Worldwide's world if he finds out that I'm losing my hair. I don't think I'm bald. I'm not. I'm definitely receding, but definitely not. Let's read. I like your voice? Question mark, question mark. I'm so confused by this energy right now, bruh. I lost it sobbing. He was beyond angry. I was too, but I was too overwhelmed with the fact that had our neighbors not been up and called the police, we could have been killed. Biker dude is now behind bars, but was only sentenced to 2 years on a plea deal. The scariest thing about that is the police nor the state is required to notify me in the event this creep is released. Thank you, Molly. Molly can confirm I am not bald. Let's read. You'll be my fan with or without hair. Thank you. I was worried for a second that you were just going to abandon me. Just like a piece of hairless meat. That's all I am to anybody anymore. I'm just a steak with not a single strand of hair on it. Bruh. Well, that was a long one, and I'm not even sure if it will make it into the video because everyone's heard it, but 'twas fun. Joel, have you played Amnesia? I have. Didn't get very far. I think I got to about the part where... some of the doorways and areas to get places are kind of blocked off by like blood vessels that are also like vines. Sorry, I don't listen to bald people. Peace. We need to get a hairless meat emoji. Or a meat with hair. We got butter socks, hairless meat. We got it all here. What do I think about Mr. Nightmare? I think he's definitely reading stories. Other than that, I literally know zero about him. I do find it interesting that he's like the biggest channel out there for this kind of stuff, but he still records on a Blue Yeti. So if that gives any up-and-coming narrators hope, I don't know what would otherwise. Nightmare Files. I think so. I think I know Nightmare Files. Jackie Rollins, welcome. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Oh, you're not the real Llama Arts, you faker. You're an imposter. He's a big fat phony. Jensen likes to shave his head. Yeah, it definitely is way nicer when I have shorter hair. And it makes, if you are, your hair is receding a tad, which mine definitely is quite a bit. It makes it look less receded. And then less people will unsubscribe if I don't look as bald. Roar like a dino. What kind of dinosaur you have to specify? Alright guys, we're moving forward. I was about 10 years old living in the Northeast. One afternoon I was walking home from school when I saw a man up the road ahead of me, walking toward the sidewalk. My mind was sort of wandering in space, so I barely took notice of him. He had a slight limp which made him stand out from the background of my daydreaming. I kept walking. His path began to converge with mine. I didn't react. I also didn't see the cloth bag in his hand until he was right next to me, throwing it over my head. I felt the bag cinch around my neck with a strong jerk as he swept me off my feet. Within seconds, he had thrown me into the back of a van and was driving down the road again as if nothing had happened. My body immediately began to ache from the trauma of being tossed around like a rag doll and left unsecured on the cold metal floor of a moving vehicle. Stunned by the sudden attack, it was several minutes before I began screaming and crying at the realization. Oops. Nothing like ruining the immersion by stopping. My body immediately began to ache from the trauma of being tossed around like a rag doll and left unsecured on the cold metal floor of a moving vehicle. Stunned by the sudden attack, it was several minutes before I began screaming and crying as the realization set in. I had been kidnapped, and I was not going to see my family again. I felt my chest crushing in at the thought. Moments after my fit of crying started, I felt the gravity shift under me as the pan pulled over the pan. The pan. A moment after my fit of crying started, I felt the gravity shift under me as the van pulled over onto what sounded like the shoulder of a highway. The man got up from his seat, pulled up the hood on my head, and shoved a rag into my mouth. I thought he would never stop driving. It felt like days went by as burning Bad Wolfie, with the $5 says, I know you're not really a father, but happy Father's Day. Thank you. You can wish a happy Father's Day to the doink dad. Let's read his dad. I do like that meme. It's just, I don't know. It sounds funny. Worldwide, you'd sound like me if you smoked a joint. Don't do drugs, kids. It's not worth it. Am I happy about Corpse Husband getting healthier and making more videos? Yeah, it's good to see that. I'm glad that he is. I'm glad that... I think he just released one today, actually, about Tinder stuff, so be sure to go check out that. I think he did a collaboration with a girl named Eden. Eden's an awesome person that actually helped me with a few collabs in the past, as well as one of my animation videos as well, lending her voice work to that. It was a good time. It felt like days went by as burning sensations raced through my joints and bones as they passed against the unpadded frame of the van. When we finally stopped, I could hear voices chattering, muffled by the thin walls of the vehicle. I was held in a normal-looking house a couple of hundred miles away from home. After a few weeks, I realized what I had to do to survive. I won't get too far into the details, but for several months I was tortured and abused, physically, emotionally, and beyond. Everything I did was closely monitored. Eating, sleeping, going to the bathroom, everything. It wasn't long before that became my life. My kidnapper was a fixed, permanent character in my story. The man with the limp. He was bald-headed with heavy scarring on his scalp and face, as if though he had been in a lot of fights. He had one green eye and one blue. Whenever he wore a short-sleeved shirt, a tattoo was visible on his forearm, a stylized font that spelled out the name, Annabelle. My middle and last names were inscribed on his skin as well. Every time I saw it, I felt sick to my stomach. By avoiding making him mad or stepping out of line, I eventually gained enough of his trust to be allowed to walk around the house and get food when I was hungry without him watching my every move. The tense air of mutual distrust that dominated the first few months seemed to fade into a twisted feeling of normalcy. One day he showed me his room. There were pictures of me all over the walls. Many were from my time being held as his captive, but also peppered in were photos taken before I was kidnapped. He had pictures of me walking outside, pictures of me sleeping in my room. It took every fiber of my will to avoid breaking down in front of him as the rush of memories of my former life came crashing down on me. I wanted to go home so badly, but I couldn't let him know that, especially when he was beginning to open up and trust me. Thank God I was smart enough to know that. A few weeks later, I was able to convince him to take me shopping with him. The one condition was that I would have to hold his hand the entire time. While we were out... Whoops. Dude, this is insane, actually, this story. It'd be so freaking scary, dude. Like, literally so scary. And the guy's bald, right? Confirmed all bald men are bad. Right, guys? While we were out, he had to go to the bathroom. He had made me promise to stay put while we went in. Oops. Shite. He had made me promise to stay put while he went in. As soon as he was out of sight, I ran, frantically searching the aisles of the grocery store. I grabbed the first person I could and told her that I had been kidnapped, begging for her to call the police. The police arrived very quickly and were able to arrest him. I told them my address and they eventually had someone take me home. The officers that drove me home told me that the man's name was Brian. I had told them that I had never seen him before the day he took me away. Little did I know, he had been watching me for 2 years. It took me a while to get past the whole ordeal, but just so you know, I'm fine now. Just paranoid. Now, about the story I originally wanted to tell you, it's directly related to all of this, and by the way, I'm sorry if this is dragging on a bit, but about a year or so ago Now, about the story that I originally wanted to tell you, it's directly related to all of this. About a year or so had passed since I was returned home. I was 12, back in my routine life out in the country where my parents lived. My best friend Beth was staying with us due to some family issues, so she and I walked everywhere together. I was usually barefoot, keeping a sharp eye out for snakes or broken glass along the dirt roads. One day my mom let us walk to the nearest gas station to get ice and pop for a cookout we were planning. Mind you, this station was only about 50 yards away from my house, so it was basically within earshot of my backyard. When we got close to the store, Beth grabbed my hand and whispered to me, "Walk faster." I figured she was just getting tired of being out in the hot sun, so I picked up the pace. We walked around the store for a few minutes, looking at ice cream and energy drinks, standard behavior for a couple of rebel kids. We got everything we needed for the barbecue, plus a couple of extra push pops for ourselves. As we made our way back home, Beth grabs my hand again, this time shaking with fear, written all over her face. She's only 10 years old, by the way. And just then, I looked up and over my shoulder to see a man walking briskly behind us. My mind went into overdrive, calculating what to do amid flashes of my recent horrible past. I told Beth to get my phone out and text my mom to let her know what was happening. I pulled a knife out of my back pocket and held it out to my side, making sure the man saw it. He slowed his pace once the blade came out. Once he backed off, I told Beth not to bother with the text, as we were almost home. When we arrived, the cookout went as normal. We helped prepare the food and ate with family, eventually forgetting about the brief scare that we had had. We even changed into our swimming clothes and splashed around in the creek afterward. After about an hour of playing around in the water, I felt a sharp tug on my shirt. Beth pulled me close to her, pointing up to the nearby bridge. "Sissy, the man is back." I looked up at the bridge and felt my lungs flood with air as I had no choice but to gasp. I recognized the man as the same one who had kidnapped me before. I scooped Beth up and we ran home, hand in hand. She kept asking me who the man was, and not having the heart to tell her the whole truth, I simply said I didn't trust him. I don't for the life of me know why I didn't call the police right then and there. When we got home, a sense of safety came over me and I immediately felt I could relax. Within the hour, we were in my room watching a movie. The phone rang and I answered it. A familiar voice responded. "You're my baby doll. You belong to me. Don't run from me, girl. You can't hide from me. Remember, you are going to be my wife." I hung up the phone. My heart was in my throat. I threw the phone into my laundry basket, screaming at him. Beth asked if I was okay, and I just told her it was an old friend being a... Oops. Could someone read a damn deep web story already? My heart was in my throat. I threw the phone into my laundry basket, screaming at him. Beth asked if I was okay, and I just told her it was an old friend being an idiot. I walked downstairs to make sure the doors and windows were all locked, and I eventually went to sleep. Around 3 a.m., I was startled awake by the sound of my front door being busted open, followed by several voices yelling police. Note that, read in a normal tone of voice, Oh, that's funny. It's like a note. It's like a note telling how to read the story and not to scream the word police. That's good to know. Around 3 a.m., I was startled awake by the sound of my front door being busted open, followed by several voices yelling police. I heard their heavy footsteps running all throughout my house until they finally made it to my bedroom. They checked all over the room, in the closets, behind my door, and they ended up pulling the man out from under my bed. It was one of the most traumatic moments of my life, and the feeling of being watched has never completely left me. I've wanted to tell this story for so long, but I couldn't bring myself to do so. Thanks for helping me share this story. I hope this can help someone else avoid going through what happened to me. You would shake Let's Read's hand with your other body part. Your foot. Foot handshakes. We need more of those in culture. Well, that was a scary story. I think that will be the one to start out with, start the video with. For them STALKER stories. I gotta pay the troll toll. This is right, chat. How much is the troll toll? And what do you get when you pay it? Do I need man hair extensions? That'd be sweet. If I could just get like a... It's like a toupee, but it's a mullet toupee. That'd be great. Or like just like a fake toupee just like in the front of my head. That like never changes in length, but the rest of my hair just keeps getting longer. Roosters, I get roosters. I sound tired. Because you're soaking up all my energy, bro. You're just absorbing it through the computer. I might be tired. I don't know. It's hot in here. I'm taking off all my clothes again, guys. Covering myself in pizza. Did I just do a dump? I just pooped on my floor, guys. I'm really sorry. I've lost complete control of my bowels. But that is the risk I'm willing to take to be a full-time YouTuber. I don't know exactly why that's, you know, what had to occur, but Joe Dirt extensions, that would be beautiful. Worldwide, if you could just shave all those hairs and just send them my way, that'd be great. Don't actually do that. Was I just ripping a bong? I was not. I was not, okay? So don't tell my guidance counselor. Or I swear to Garsh that I will tell Becky that you like her. Pull your pants down and sit on a clown. Pull your pants down and sit on a clown. Worldwide, I'm gonna mute you, honestly. I really don't want to talk about that stuff, my friend. Worldwide's obsessed. I'm a 22-year-old female that weighs 80 pounds and that's athletic. I'm quite tall and have a defect in my eyes, so one's gray and one's green. I promise that'll be relevant later. So this happened when I was 20 and it stopped when I was 21. Many things have happened to me for some reason. I guess I'm just a magnet for weirdness. I met this guy in university when he was finishing and I was just starting. He was assigned my study partner. I'm studying to be a pediatrician. I remember that he was quite nice in the beginning, but started to get jealous whenever I spent time with my boyfriend. This was the first red flag, that whenever I went, I always kind of saw him walking some meters behind me. And then the notes started. They were really sexual notes about me and other things I'm not so sure I should share. After that, I didn't know who it was, but at the end, it was about 255 notes, all in 1 month. The last one actually had names, so I went straight to the office and reported him. I ended up with a different partner. The day that I had to tell them that I had gotten a different partner, I was kind of about to lose it and sweating bullets. The face he made was of pure anger. He started to yell racial slurs. Racial slurs. It's a tongue twister. He started to yell racial slurs at me. I'm a quarter Latin and German. About how I was a Nazi, that I was a psycho, and he went on and on. And now a tip for people like me, just walk away. And that's what I did. I picked up my books and left. I found my friends and study partner and left. The only thing I cared about at that time was that he would not find where my apartment was, or he would not threaten my friends or family and relationships. I went home that day with my friend, study partner, and boyfriend, and they were scared for me. Once I got home, I saw a little red package tied up in a little bow, of course, and he had to be the... Whoops. The grammar on this one's just a little off. Okay, so once I got home, I saw a little red package tied up with a little bow. Of course, he had to this be the classical... What? Why are there Fs? Are there Fs in the chat? Everybody's paying respects. Did something happen? Mina McDonald, what is the tongue thing that you do when you make a mistake? Also, we're almost at 500 viewers, which is pretty sweet. It's about 10 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon or night. So be sure to not only click F in the chat, but I don't really know why we're paying respects, but... Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, F. Okay, F for the mistakes. Yeah, it's... makes sense. But also, if you can click that like button, I think that helps to let YouTube know that it should push this stream out to other subscribers. And also, if you guys are here for the stream, click the notification bell, because I recently saw like a statistic that shows the percentage of people that actually have the notifications turned on for the videos. I'm sure if you guys are here for the stream, you might already have it on, but if you don't, or maybe you didn't really know about it and you just want to be, you know, alerted of all the videos when they come out and stuff, just click that notification bell so the bell is in the ding position. Oh, Joel, it's like a blah 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 with my tongue. Bleh. Oh, like where you say bleh. Yeah, I know a lot of... Isn't that weird? Like a lot of people do that. Where they get a tongue twister and they say bleh. And that's fine. I feel like it's almost like a cultural thing, but I feel like I've always heard it since I was young, and it's something I never really felt inclined to do whenever I messed up words. Brand new Bengal kitten is a nightmare itself, people. Yeah, that sounds a little scurry. Jessica, do I stream often? Usually I stream the stories I'm going to read worldwide. I don't hate you. I don't want you to leave. I just talking about things like money and things like that in chat is not allowed. It's just awkward. You know what I mean? It's a very personal kind of question, and I just, you know, out of respect for anybody, it's just not a good question to ask them. Natalia with the $10 says humidifier fun. Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I have a dehumidifier in here. Well, like an AC unit, but which does that. But thank you for the 10. And Ruben Atwood with the $5 says keep up the killer vids, my guy. Thank you, Ruben. Okay, so I think I got distracted there. So I'm trying to think, because this is, I mean, it's fine. I think this person just, you know, it's kind of like bit of a few mistakes in the writing, so I just need to correct that. Bad Wolfie again with a donation with the $2 says, want some candy? I love candy. What's everyone's favorite candy? I really like Reese's Cups. Okay, so they left, and relationships. All right, let me see. Once I got home, I saw a little red package tied up. I'll just read it to you guys first before I record it, so... Oh yeah, look at that, over 500 now because you guys clicking that like button, thank you. If EA made Earth pay $20 to be brought, go, or what? Animated stories, I really want to. Robin is actually helping me a lot with animated stories as well, and I have a another animator who's from the Philippines doing some in their style. So animation takes quite a bit of time, so I really appreciate the time that they're going to be putting into it. But I'm hoping we'll have like 4 animated true stories about stalkers, actually, which is funny, here at some point. But it's going to take some time. And if you guys know any like legit animators that, you know, like legit, like, you know what I'm saying. Hey, there's... Oh, sorry, I just burped. There's Robin. What's up, dog? Yeah, I'm really excited to see. And that actually would be really cool because that's kind of like... what is it? Love, Death, and Robots, where it's all different types of animators for the story. So that'd be kind of cool to see a bunch of different styles. Alright, Miss Molly with the $3 says, buttered socks, future merch idea, like butter on socks, make it happen. Absolutely. Well, I don't know if you've seen the Buttersock cult merchandise. It's basically like a bunch of butter socks like gathered around a pentagram, which is funny. But I definitely need to, like, that'd be really funny to do like a super hyper realistic hey worldwide, see a friend. But like a really hyper realistic like butter just like melting in a sock or something of that nature. What if my channel was just Butter Socks? That'd be a really funny channel name. You needs it. I needs it. Give it to me. Ah. Okay, so I'm just gonna read you guys this story, and then we can figure out the grammar together. You can walk through my thinking process here, because sometimes. So this is where I'm gonna kind of start off. Once I got home, I saw a little red package tied up in a little bow. Of course, he had to be the classical. This is weird. He had to be the classical, the maniac who has to send packages. We opened the package, and inside were pictures of me and notes about how he was going to kill and how he loved my eyes. And so many other things, like how he was going to... Yeah. It made me physically sick that I threw up. I stayed at home and called my brother. He's a police officer and advised me to press charges. I did a month later. The guy was suspended. I got a restraining order against him, and for a moment I had peace of mind that did not last long because he started his stalking on social media, temp jobs, and I go on, and finally finished when he got it. Oh. Classic maniac, you know? Just classic. I might actually have to type this up. Maybe I don't actually have to. I'm just gonna have to, like... It's like stories that have a lot of grammatical errors. Like, it's definitely the idea's all there. It's just you kind of have to, like, piece it together, if you know what I mean, for the actual narration part to make sense. Once I got home, I saw a little red package tied up with a little bow. And of course, this had to be from him. Classic maniac-type move, sending packages. We opened the package, and inside were pictures of me and notes about how he was going to hurt people and how he loved my eyes, and so many other things about what he was going to do to me, things that made me physically sick that I actually threw up. I stayed home and called my brother, who was currently working as a police officer, and he advised me to press charges. I did later that month, and thankfully he was suspended. I got a restraining order against him, and for a moment, I finally had peace of mind. Okay, that wasn't, that wasn't too hard to work through. It's not that I don't appreciate the stories, obviously, it's just the, I just like stories that have grammar. Grammar. Kelsey Grammer. Don't ever give your location. Yikes. Yeah, that's not the greatest idea, guys. Don't dox yourself. Kaya Ann, you would honestly... Oh, yeah. So, what I'm hoping to do here soon is, if anybody's actually, like, really enjoys reading these stories and stuff, on my Discord, there is a little section called Story Time. And I was thinking about doing stories from doing stories from the Storytime channel from the Discord. So if anyone who is here from the Discord or is a frequenter of the Storytime channel, I would love it if you found your favorite stories that were on the Storytime area, and then I would say maybe you could edit it or whatever. Obviously I don't want it to be too burdensome to people, or maybe you could even coordinate with another individual to work through some stories that you find interesting from the Discord, and then we could, get those worked out to eventually be on the subreddit and, do a stories from Discord. It might be confusing because people might think they're actually about Discord, but I think we'll work out the title, and yeah. Kaya Ann, nice. Yeah, so Kaya, if you guys want to chat, if you're in story time, just go in there and raise your hand and let people know, like, that you're working on some. And yeah, if we could get like 10 stories, or 7 to 10 stories in total from there, that'd be pretty baller. Autumn Dreams. How do you get on Discord? I wonder if I can link this again. Yeah. So I just linked the Discord again. Sorry to spam it, but just make it easier for you to click on if as chat goes and that kind of thing. Thank you, daughter. Don't forget the Oxford commas. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh. Reinstall Discord. Yeah, it's fun when you find a nice community of Discord peeps. So this one's simply called Stalker, and we will begin that story. How long will I be streaming? So we're only on story 4 of 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're about halfway. So, and it's been going for an hour and a half. I would say probably another hour and a half or so. So maybe a total of 3 hours, putting us at around, finishing around midnight time frame, which is on the East Coast. Limbo MGTOW. That's a funny name. Men gaming their own way. Sometimes we all just want to game, and we want to game our own way, okay? Aw. Hi, Bianca. Thank you. Happy Father's Day to the best cat daddy. I do my best. I do feel happy about having him as a cat son, because we invested in the automatic litter box cleaner, which is amazing, because then it literally cleans itself every like couple of hours, like pushing all the shit into the front of it, and then like kind of scoops back through to like even it all out, and then you only have to change that litter box literally like once a month, which is crazy, you know what I mean? And it doesn't. It all kind of collects in this like sort of like smell-free zone area in the front, and obviously that's something you want to be very careful of whenever you get rid of that disposable box with the litter once a month, because if you were to drop that, you're essentially breathing in like straight up ammonia and poop. So please be careful with that. But it's awesome because it's just better cleanliness for him and easier for me. And then I also got the automatic water thing where it just like cycles water through and stuff, so his water doesn't get stagnant and yada yada. So that's been a nice investment as well. And then I just have to. Cats are pretty straightforward dudes, Don't expect too much. I mean, he'll come up and want attention and stuff, but for the most part, he just sleeps all day, every day. Freshco for life with $1. Thank you, Freshco. Clumpable is best. Yeah, you know, if that's the direction. You're gonna buy the 1K one. Is it $1,000 shit cleaner? Oh. That's so funny. Sometimes you get used to like hearing certain noises, like even though your cat's like not super loud or whatever, but whenever he like lands on certain surfaces, you're like, he's on the move. And I heard him hit the hardwood floor, and I'm like, wonder where he got to. And he's actually laying at my feet right now, so I'm gonna pet him. Yeah, cats are freaking cool. Also, an interesting thing about cleaning cat poop I didn't know about. Well, first off, White Rabbit, thank you for the 2, says, what's the game you play in the BG in the beginning of your videos? The game I play? Because at the beginning of my videos are like openings. That are 2 of the openings are done by Robin Mikalsen. He's linked down below. Awesome openings and stuff. And the other one that's like the nuclear explosion with those skeletons, that's done by Axeman Cartoons. And then the one with the robot, or not robot, my skeleton or the astronaut floating through space as the nuclear bombs are going off on Earth, are done by Umami, who does the Interface series. So you could go check those guys out, but I don't know, it might appear like a video game, I guess, maybe. Princess Rena with the $1, thank you. Oh, in the background. Well, I currently haven't used a video game. There was a horror game that gets played in some. Well, back when I used to include gameplay footage, there was a lot of different games that I played, so, you know, you'd have to be more specific on what you're seeing in that video game for me to. And usually in all the descriptions, I was able to link. I was able to link, you know, what game was being played, and also posting the Steam link to the Steam stuff. Umami, yeah. He's sweet and savory for show. You should go check out if you go to Umami's channel and check out his Interface series, it's like really, really good. Genius, I would say, genius. I live in South Africa. Now, this happened about a year ago. I was living across our mall in a complex with my then boyfriend. My cell phone broke, so I had to borrow my friend's cell for the time being. I could not go on Facebook or anything other than WhatsApp, but every now and then I'll get a notification from Facebook that someone has commented on a photo. Not innocent comments at all. Things like, "You're so pretty, can I have your number?" and "I'm in your church, can we get together sometime?" He even commented on how he sees I ride bike to work, and he loves to hear me singing as I go to work. I told my then boyfriend to please do something about it, as he works in security and will be able to stop this, but he said I should just ignore it and he'll stop. He didn't. Time passes and I left my ex and lived alone. And that's when the real stuff started. The stalker started to comment that he sees I'm single and would like to have my number to get to know me better, and he'll like to take me to work. When I didn't answer him, he phoned my work and asked to talk to me. I was luckily on my tea break, so they took his name and number. My best friend and now boyfriend saw this. He grew super mad and messaged him to tell them that dark forces are protecting me. That night I got home and found a letter on my floor, pushed under my door, saying how he finds me so attractive and giving me his number again. And again asking me to let him give me a ride to work as he lives in the same complex as me. I sent a voice note to my boyfriend while I was in tears. The next day we went to his job and showed the letter to his boss, and my boyfriend sent the voice note to his boss. His boss played it to him. And only did... Wait, what? His boss played it to him, and then only did he say... Oh, and then... Okay. His boss played it to him, and then only did he say he'll leave me alone. Wait, what the heck? Why is... So they sent it to each other's subsequent bosses, and somehow... Maybe it was security-oriented? Did she date another security person? I'm confused. His boss played it to him, and then only did he say he'll leave me alone. I know that might not... I hate when people say it might... Like, I know this story might not be too scary, because I can't read that, because I want it to be scary, and I can't tell you it's not scary. I have to pretend every story's the scariest thing. I moved in with my... Alright. His boss played it to him, and then only did he say he'll leave me alone. I moved in with my now boyfriend and haven't heard from Stalker Guy again. I'm forever grateful to my man for helping me through this. Gothic, you're feeling sleepy, huh? I'm gonna let my cat out real quick. Be right back. Where are you going? Do I not read stories before I record? I do not. Not very professional of me, but I kind of just do everything on the fly and hope that they're not complete garbaggio. Bye, Pradeep. Yeah. See you, buddy. Yeah, that was not the greatest story. Like, so I go through two lines of thought where I'm like, you know... Oh, Freshco, thank you for the $1, buddy. Buddy boy. Buddy old boy. Limbo, thank you. Thank you for loving the videos. I appreciate that. But, two lines of thought where I'm like, I kind of like look at the stories as, you know, the content, being ASMR in fashion, you know what I mean? Like ASMR. And, so to me, I kind of, you know, when people say the comments like, you could read the phone book and I would enjoy that. To me, that kind of signifies to me that a large percentage of my audience is not necessarily in subscribing to the content specifically, not specifically subscribed for the content per se, as much as they are just for like something lengthy to fall asleep to. So sometimes even if the stories aren't the most fantastic, I'll include them anyways just to like, you know, like keep, you know, have more content and stuff. Okay, with the $2, as a note, my name is pronounced Kaaya. Oh, Kaaya. Kaaya. Kaaya Ann. Well, thank you, Kaaya. Oh, is it like just Kaya or Kaaya? Content and voice, yeah. Yeah, that's why whenever I can get a perfect mixture, it feels, if I can get a perfect mixture, it's pretty sweet, you know what I'm saying? Original Asherella, the first time I've tapped into a live stream. Sweet. Well, I'm glad to have you. It's just kind of lets you see a little bit of who I am and what we're up to. Well, what I'm up to, I guess, here on Let's Read. In kind of the recording process, you get to hear all my mistakes and find out that I have a cat. Oh no, dude, I brought tea in and I totally didn't even drink the tea and now it's cold. That's not like the worst thing of all time, having cold tea, but it's not hot. It's definitely not hot. Ruben Atwood, You like listening to work to pass the time. That's good. I think it was Jensen or somebody told me that they put my narrations over their like work speakers while they were like packing and stocking shelves and stuff, and I thought that was cool. Charcoal. I sent a thing to YouTube when your channel got demonetized. So happy it went good. Cold tea is all right. Well, thank you, Char. I really appreciate everyone, you know, making noise on Twitter, Instagram, and sending stuff and just letting them know that I will not go down without a fight. But in reality, it was all just kind of a mistake. So, but you know, mistakes get made, and sometimes people have to be made aware of that. So I really, really appreciate you guys standing up for me and just helping me continue to solidify my presence here on YouTube. It's crazy. How long I've been narrating? I guess I've been doing this channel and reading since 2014, August 2014. So we're almost going on 5 years, which is cray cray. It's like cray cray. Janelle Bosman with the $2 says, "What's up, meatball?" Nothing. Nothing. Just you know, waiting to get covered in sauce and spaghetti, you know me. Please bring back gameplay for games in the background. You know, that was also one of the concerns, is that like excuse me, like one of the reasons people thought channels were getting reused content demonetization was because certain people. No, and once again, this is because YouTube does not communicate with us specifically anything. Like, we are all just kind of like trying to make our best guesses based on deduction, and most of it's based around like superstition and fear. Like, we just have no idea what we're doing half the time. Like, we just create the content and hope to God, the gods of YouTube, that it goes out to the appropriate people, and that what we're doing is not completely against some random terms and services that some robot AI just suddenly has against us. You know what I mean? So it's so up in the air. But Joel has vomit on his sweater. Yeah, I burped and just... I need my mommy to come burp me. My mom's spaghetti is now all over me. Do you think that'd be funny if Eminem's mom burped him to get the spaghetti to come up on his shirt? Anyways, Mickey, you getting ice cream. Good luck. Tell us what kind, please. It's very important. Mr. Davis is here. Says the new mic sounds perfect, dude. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Guys, go subscribe to Mr. Davis. He's in chat right now, and he is my dude from another mood. But yeah, I'm sure Mr. Davis can attest to the fact that a lot of the things that we do on YouTube tend to be based around complete uncertainty as far as monetization goes. Like, I used to include gameplay because I had a little bit of an agreement with a gameplay channel that did horror walkthroughs, and my thought is, like, everyone's watching, these narrations. I love video games as much as the next person. Why not, try to promote, give something for people to look at while they listen to stories, such as gameplay video, gameplay. And Nina Love, thank you for the 2. Says, glad to catch your stream. Absolutely, good to see you back. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Davis. Love you too, bro. It's good to see you. Also, I love the direction Mr. Davis, used to do a lot of narrations, but I'm really stoked to see how the channel will continue to grow, doing different little mini docs and stuff like that. So that's gonna be sick. But basically, I would include horror gameplay because my thought was like, oh, new games come out, smaller ones. Like, this channel kind of covers a lot of that stuff, as long as I, gave credit in their description I would have something for people to look at that was scary oriented, but also video game oriented, and just generally a visual stimulus. But then related to reused content, like people were kind of all up in the air as to what constitutes reused content. So like, you know, and I didn't want to like continue to put out any more content that would put me in jeopardy of that. So I sort of got away from the, you know, gameplay, even though I would love to have that in there, because I thought it'd be so cool. Because my plan was like, as time goes on, you have horror gameplay, you know, in the background, to eventually say there's like little independent horror studios, and then they reach out to you and say, hey, we'd like to include your content or include our content in your video. What do you say about that? You know, and so that was kind of like the hope, is to like all these like smaller games. Like I was going to link the Steam, you know, or I always linked in the description like how to get to the game, and just to raise interest and stuff like that as the channel grew. But it's so up in the air sometimes with YouTube that you can never tell what you should do, you know what I mean? It's like you hear word of mouth that it's this, or word of mouth that it's that, and it's like you never can come to a best educated conclusion where you feel 100% confident that you're not going to just get thrown into a meat grinder somewhere, you know? Alberto with the 2 says, my first live. Good stuff. Yeah, good to see you, Alberto. Thank you for being here. Meat so fresh you beat it. That's good to know. Is there on-screen gameplay for other YouTubers that do horror stories? You know, maybe. I don't think so. I remember whenever I first started doing that, I was like one of the, you know, maybe one of the only ones that really did it. Overwatch rage play. That would be good for me. Just showing how angry I get. Falling over like a little kid. But yeah, I don't know if that's something I would love to bring back, you know, but it's hard to tell. I definitely keep trying to fill in a lot of the backgrounds with the videos with like people who do art, so like art time lapses and stuff like that, because at least then I know that the content's unique to a certain degree. So if you guys are artists or you draw and you feel confident that you'd like to get your, you know, your art out there, and you know how to like use the technology that you have to do like time lapse videos and stuff, and want to send me that over a Dropbox or whatever, would love to include your art and promote your Instagram or whatever, your YouTube channel, whatever you want, by utilizing that art time-lapse videos. So yeah, just hit me up. Let's Read gets angry. The only time I get angry is video games. I don't know what it is about them, but they drive me absolutely insane, especially something like Overwatch, which is very team-oriented and communication-oriented, and whenever you're just trying to go in to have a few quick games, it's never quite a fun time. I think that game is just generally innately broken overall. You're going to get me talking about Overwatch, it's bad. But the reason I think it's so broken is because it's like they solve every issue by inventing another issue. You know, so it's like, oh, we have issues with Genji, let's do Moira. We have issues with, you know, with Tracer. Everyone, you know, Tracer's too oppressive. Let's invent, you know, this Brigitte and ruin the game. Mr. Davis says, I specialize in dick butt drawings. I will contact you soon. Thank you. We need... I would honestly include that. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, so like, they solve every, you know, like my friend made a good analogy where it was like the Simpsons episode where they introduced, to get rid of this insects, they introduced a bunch of lizards into the environment, and then when nothing's going to kill the lizards, they have to bring in another animal to kill the lizards, and then so forth until it all comes full circle and something just starves to death. And but yeah, like if you've watched any of like the top tier gameplay of what Overwatch is, they have what's called GOATs. I forget exactly what it stands for, but basically it's like 3 tanks, 3 healers, and it's like Reinhardt, Zarya, Diva, Brigitte, Lucio, and usually like Moira or Zen or something like that. And basically, it's been a minute since I've heard of dick butt. It's funny, it keeps trying to hide people who type dick butt. That's pretty funny. But basically the gameplay is just really boring because nothing dies, and the exchanges and the fight, like the team fights that go on, are just so boring because just tanks can't really be killed by DPS like in the same fashion, and everyone gets healed, so it's like pretty much you have to like, the cycle is so predictable, and if you have to play that cycle so perfect and be in position in this exact same fashion all the time, that the game is essentially, to me, just dead. It's a dead game. It sucks because there's not really anything else I play, because it is a fun game, but I think just from the get-go it's very very just innately broken, which is fine. I think I might get vanilla WoW when it comes out to play with some friends, just to have something fun to do. The GOATs came from an Overwatch Contenders team because they were the first to use 333. Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't used more frequently in the beginning, but it's very powerful. Mr. Davis and Let's Read need to do a live video split. That would be cool. We could take turns going back and forth. Hamo Music with the 99-cent Canadian Centarunos maple syrup cents. Are you making music, Hamo? What's the deal with that? In the fall of 2016, a friend and I decided to go hiking late in the afternoon in a densely wooded wilderness area in the mountains not far from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Also, I have no idea if I pronounced Fayetteville correctly, so now I have to see that. Cover your ears.
Fayetteville.
Okay. Fayetteville. We'll go with it. Oh, Joel, no WoW, please. You're too old for that. That's the thing I was worried about, is like, do I really, like, I'm almost, I'm 29 now. I'm going, we'll be 30 in a year. It's like, do I really want to get addicted to, World of Warcraft like this late in the game, you know what I mean? I don't know. I guess if it's I've tried it in the past, and I find it to be extraordinarily, like, boring, but my thought is that if enough people play it, it might feel like a social experience, and that would be nice to have in a video game rather than just, like, constant action yelling at each other kind of thing. In the fall of 2016, a friend and I decided to go hiking late in the afternoon in a densely wooded wilderness area in the mountains not too far from Fayetteville, Arkansas. My friend Rick was close to 60 at the time and recovering from a triple bypass he'd undergone around 16 months earlier. We'd been hiking this and other trails for about a year following his operation to strengthen his cardiovascular health. That day, a weekday, I hiked with a bottle of water, my wallet, and my keys, but nothing else. Nothing to protect myself. The trail we picked is a popular weekend hiking spot that we had taken dozens of times before. We were both comfortable with the hike and had never had a problem on that path, or any other for that matter. While Rick is older and, at the time, a little more feeble after his health problems, I was in my mid-40s, well over 6 foot tall, and in pretty good shape, so I wasn't really worried about our safety. The trail we were on is a state park adjacent to federal parkland. It's an outdoor enthusiast dream. Most of our trek that day was completely uneventful. We just enjoyed the autumn leaves and chatted casually about... Oops. Cameo with the $2 says, I'm 28, lol, by the way, love your voice. Thank you, Cameo. Yeah, thank you for your donations today. I appreciate that. Yeah, time goes by quick. I don't know. I guess I've said that a few times. It's not like a big deal. I think, if anything, becoming 29 has just made me feel like I really got to get focused on my diet as time goes on, because I'll end up like this guy with the coronary bypass surgery. And then I'd have to go hiking. Are you kidding me? That's terrible. 30? You're a kid. No, I agree. It's just like all my life I feel like 30 had always sounded 30 had always sounded very adult, you know, as I'm sure any of the 20s did to pretty much to anybody in reference to that time. I'm sure for the rest of wait, what is this? Creepmaster GM Danielson. What's up, bro? It's good to see you. Everyone's heard of the copyright infringement between Rich Energy and white bikes in England. Well, that thumbnail infringes. Oh, Creepmaster, I guess just GM Danielson. Oh yeah, Mr. Davis, yep, 29, just turned it here at the beginning of June. Birthday not too long ago here, so. Oh, happy, yeah, you're going to be 25. Well, happy 25er. It's weird. I honestly don't feel any different than when I definitely don't feel any different when I was 25, and I definitely, even then, I never felt like I was I still feel like the same goofy 8th grader that I've always felt like. I don't even know. Your mind, I guess people's minds just kind of, the personalities kind of stay the same. Same poop jokes make me laugh. But yeah, GM, I just got a new mic. It's an AKG for using it for streaming. I should probably use it for narration as well, but the system I kind of got going here with my H4n has served me well thus far, so I think I'll stick with that. Ashley says, yeah, you'll be my mom, but I'll still have to read to you. We'll reverse roles. Gaming Freak 69 with the $1. Thank you. Let's read. We just enjoyed the autumn leaves and chatted casually as the sun dropped lower in the evening sky. We had seen nobody else that day, which was probably to be expected given that we had chose to hike late afternoon on a Wednesday. We've comploited. We've comploited. A hordy-dordy-door. AKG's good. They're a bass-heavy mic, so beware. They boost low frequencies below 300 mega or 300 hertz. Yeah, actually, you're probably picking up a bit of the bass here. I'm actually going to switch it back just so you can hear what it sounds like with this one setting turned off. Real quick. Okay. So now that's what it sounds like without as much bass, I guess. You've completed a lot of tasks today. Anyone speak Romani? I don't think so. They have a high proximity effect. Interesting. Well, yeah, so now this is what it sounds like, you know. I'll read some excerpts here for you. We'd completed about 4 miles of the 6-mile loop, and up to that point, it was as uneventful as any other. On our way back to the car, and about 2 miles from the parking area, we spotted someone. Through an opening in the trees, I saw a young woman, probably a college student, on the trail ahead of us, and moving in our direction. At first glance, I paid very little attention. As the distance between us disappeared, that changed. I did not know her, so I could have been mistaken, but there was something about her posture and expression that seemed off. As she got closer, it struck me that she had a semi-panicked look on her face and was moving quite quickly, but she was in athletic gear, so maybe she was just booking it for some cardio. She occasionally turned her head and stared over her shoulder. I followed her eyes and eventually noted another woman about 50 yards behind her walking up the path through the trees. The second woman was not wearing hiking gear. In fact, her clothing struck me as totally inappropriate. It was a warm afternoon, and we were all well inside a wooded state park area miles from any homes, but she was wearing semi-formal, office-casual attire and a light jacket. I thought the clothes must have been second-hand because they were tattered, ill-fitting, and didn't look washed. She was a fit, athletic-looking woman who couldn't have been more than about 25 or 30 years of age. It was too bizarre. The clothes were wrong for the trail, and they were wrong for someone her age. Everything was off about her. Her shoes struck me as being even more peculiar. When she got closer, I noticed she was wearing scuffed leather flats, casual shoes with no ankle support. I found it completely odd because you just don't see people on this trail dressed as she was, and you never see them wearing shoes like that. My hiking partner, Rick, hadn't appeared to notice anything odd, as he was completely involved in the conversation and just kept talking. The second woman briefly glanced up, and we made any... Oops. Okay, sorry, GM. All about that bass, no treble. I was curious to see your opinion on the changes. Turn the bass back on. Okay, interesting. That could be done. What do you guys think? Turn the bass back on. Can I get a bass in the chat if you want that back on? Feel the boominess. Dad joke. Why can't I have tricks? Because tricks are for kids. Oh, nice. Type yeet for respect. The Hunger Games trilogy, even though it's not horror. Oh. Bass on, bass. Either. I think it said neither. Neither, just turn it off. Okay, I'll turn that bass on. All about that. Boom, boom, ow. Boom, boom, ow. The bass is back on. We've just dropped the bass. The bass adds to the calming voice. That's good to know. It's 11:11. Make a wish, everyone. Boom, boom, bow. Okay. So now you guys get a vibe. The second woman briefly glanced up, and we made eye contact as she neared us. The alarm bells went off in my head. There was something in her eyes that made me feel uncomfortable. I don't know what she was thinking, if I'm being honest, but I swear she had contempt in her face. Part of me wondered whether I'd offended her by staring, so I diverted my eyes and kept walking. I tried to tell myself that maybe she was homeless, was wearing the only things she had, and I was just being rude. But the warning bells were still going off in my head. I'm not a paranoid person, so having my sixth sense going nuts left me unsettled. I have fantastic peripheral vision, so I turned my face towards Rick and acted like I was listening to him, but I was watching the creepy woman out of the corner of my eye. The moment we passed, she spun her head around to study us, and she slowed her pace. My internal... Oh, I thought I was going to say internal organs, but I don't think that's probably what he was trying to say. My internal alarms grew louder. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her come to a stop and drop her face toward at the ground. Her body half turned on the trail. It was very odd behavior. Rick and I kept walking, and around 50 yards further we made it around a bend in the path and looked back at the woman before the trees obscured her from view. She was still standing there. Her face was down, but she was staring at a hole through us out of the corner of her eyes. Oh, staring a hole. A hole? She was staring a hole. Her face was down, but she was staring a hole through us out of the corner of her eyes. That was the first time I realized that I couldn't see her hands. One was inside her pocket, and the other was hidden from my view on the other side of her body. It creeped me out, and the hair on the back of my neck stood up. For a half a mile I didn't see her again, and had begun to wonder whether the first woman, the co-ed, had felt danger as well. Clearly she had, I thought, and that's why she was practically running through the woods at dusk. It also struck me that the creepy woman had stopped and studied Rick and me like she was deciding on whom to follow. We weren't moving as fast. We were walking as quickly as Rick could manage, and he was clearly more feeble than the co-ed. Those thoughts amped up my senses, and I still felt uneasy, so I periodically checked behind us. At certain points through the woods, I could see more than 100 yards. Nothing. I began to notice about... Oops. Hey, Dachiki. That's a cool name. With the $5, says, huge fan, was wondering if you can do more videos on true deep-sea fishing stories and weird things that go out in the sea. That actually sounds like a fantastic idea, and I will do my best to secure some stories about the deep sea. There's the deep web, and then there's the deep sea. Which one's more spooky? Which one's more wet? A-hole gets a pass, still no swear for the bad word jar. That's good. I thought I said one earlier, but I guess you weren't paying attention. Mistake 23, though, yeah. That's actually not too bad for as far as we've come. I am pleasantly surprised. Deep sea fishing, yeah, that would be dope. Also, yeah, we got Mr. Davis. I'm not sure if he's still here, but GM Danielson, if you guys love spooky narrators, be sure to go subscribe to my man GM there. Creepmaster GM Danielson. I began to worry about the co-ed. My hair stood up for a second time as I felt the strangest sensation of being watched. Again, thinking I was paranoid and half mocking myself for being afraid of the creepy woman, I turned my head around to assure myself she was not back there. I was wrong. She was there, following with her head down and moving briskly about 100 yards behind us, but with her hands hidden. I turned my head back to the trail in front of us, and we kept walking, still trying to convince myself that there was nothing out of the ordinary happening, that I was just being rude because she was dressed like a homeless woman. About 200 yards further along the path, I turned my head back to Rick, and my heart raced a bit. She's closed half the distance. Each time we would walk around a bend and the woods obscured her location, she would emerge much closer to us at the next opening. I told myself that I was just being paranoid, but nevertheless tried to get Rick to pick up the pace a bit. By this time, he was clearly aware that we were being followed and was pretty uncomfortable as well, though, to his credit, he did keep talking. With a half-mile to go before we reached the parking area, I turned my head once again, and she was just 10 feet behind us. I hadn't seen or heard her get that close, and it freaked me out. I literally jumped. One of her hands was in her pocket, and the other was behind her back. I got the distinct feeling she had a weapon of some kind, and she had no fear of me despite the fact that I was considerably taller, albeit several years older. There was no mistaking her demeanor. She meant to do us harm, or at the very least she intended to intimidate us. I weaved my car keys between the knuckles of my right hand, handed my water bottle to Rick, and made an obvious fist with my left hand. With a half-mile left in our hike, I thought to myself, if this is nothing, she'll pass us and move on, as clearly she's moving a lot faster than we were. I was accustomed to people overtaking us when I walked with Rick. But she didn't pass, and never acted like she knew we were there, which was the creepiest part. I kept my head turned toward her as I walked and tried to get her to make eye contact, but she didn't look me in the eyes at first. She kept acting like neither Rick nor I were on the path, just feet ahead of her, and she'd slowed to follow closely behind. I was completely unnerved, and that made me angry. I wanted her to see how angry I was, and to convey with a look that messing with me was a mistake. When she finally did make eye contact with me, I glared and clenched my fists. There was an instant where I couldn't read her expression. She was simply blank, but As she studied my face, she appeared simultaneously agitated and a little less confident. I was conveying one thing in the look on my face: back off. And at this point, I didn't care if it appeared rude. She apparently thought better of whatever she was doing and slowed her pace so that the distance between us grew to about 20 feet. But she was tense and kept whatever she had in her hand. Put one squeak in the squeak jar. GM or any other Mr. Davis or any other narrators, do you guys ever, you're in such a hardcore mood reading and then suddenly you get a squeaky squeal going? Ugh. I don't know where it comes from. It's like I'm going through puberty for the third time. First it was on my chest, then it was on my back, and now it's in my throat. There's hairs growing in there. I just know it. Puberty. Classic squick. Yeah, I just need water. Just need a little bit of water, that's all. Alright, I know she had a weapon of some kind. It's probably a double-sided dildo. Never know, though. Burgundy Viola with the $5. Oddly enough, your spooky reads calm my anxiety greatly. Thank you, darling. Keep doing what you're doing. I hope you're having a good night. Thank you, Burgundy. That's good to hear. I'm glad that the juxtaposition of the horror stories and the voice can still bring people to a grounded state of chill. Okay, a few hundred feet, about a quarter mile. I was mentally prepared. Okay. I know she had a weapon of some kind, and I believe she meant to do us harm, but I also know she recognized that I was ready to fight. I was mentally prepared to charge her. Oops. Creepy Master GM Dennison, the YouTube gods have censored your comment, and I don't know if I should show it or not. That's pretty funny. AKG Stranger Stories Austrian Mic Company. Interesting. Alright. I was mentally preparing to charge at her if I saw a gun or a knife, as I knew Rick couldn't outrun her. I thought to myself, I just have to surprise her. I also realized that I needed to have her in front of us. A few hundred feet further, about a quarter mile from where our car was parked, she was still stalking us, and I had had enough. I was in equal measures afraid and furious. I told Rick that we were going to stop and let her pass, loud enough for her to hear it. Just as I was getting ready to stop on the trail and make her walk in front of us, she veered into a small clearing, plowing through waist-high brush, crossed a ditch, and scurried through a line of trees to a road that ran through the woods between the main road and the parking area. I kept my eyes on her the whole time. She had a car. It was parked alongside the little service road partially hidden by shrubs, not in the parking lot. The last time we made eye contact, just before she climbed in her car, it was clear from the expression on her face that she was very angry. I glared at her, expressing my own anger, but kept walking. When her car started and she drove away, Rick got quiet before asking me, "What was she doing? Did she have a gun?" I told him I didn't know. I never saw a weapon, and we walked back to our car without saying another word. Once the engine was on and the doors were shut, we chatted a bit more about it and decided to call the authorities and report the incident, and make sure and have them check on the poor co-ed who'd passed us first. Whoops. The co-ed. Spooky co-ed stories. hairy throat comment really grossed you out, but the stories don't even do it. I always know how to creep someone out. Don't worry. To the authorities, reporting to the authorities, reporting to make sure that they check. Okay. Once the engine was on and the doors were shut, we chatted more about it and decided to call the authorities and report the incident, and make sure and have them check on the poor co-ed who we'd passed first. To this day, I have no idea what the creepy woman was planning to do. Rob us, harm us, scare us, I have no idea. I'm just thankful she decided better of it. I have hiked that trail more than 50 times since then, but I've never seen her again. Sometimes I do wonder, and this isn't to throw shade or anything like that, but with Mr. Nightmare, like, his voice is very, like, to me, it's not exciting, you know, like I really like Mr. Davis' voice, I really like GM Danielson's voice, like, they just sound professional, you know what I mean, and same with a lot of really cool other narrators, like Dr. Creepin and Mr. X Dreams, and for a while there was, what was it, Mr. Scarecrow, I don't know if he's still doing videos or not, and a bunch of like really other awesome ones, and sometimes I kind of wonder, like, I wonder if one of them, you know, had been the first to do true scary stories, and then through a series of growth, like, got their channel to the size that his is now. Like, how fast would that channel, you know, continue to grow if it was like, if the talent that was like at that, you know, level of success, yeah, B Buster, people like that, like, if those types of voices that I feel like, that have like that sense of like professional effort put in, like I don't have any qualms with them as individuals. It's just that, like, their mic quality, their voice, Mr. Nightmare specifically, like, it just doesn't strike me as professional as various other narrators that exist on the platform. So that I'm just curious, like, I don't know. I'm just rambling about nonsense. Once again, it's not to throw shade or anything. I'm just surprised at with the success that he has, that he hasn't moved to, oh yeah, Phantom Librarian. I remember him. He had some issues going on in the past, and then he just kind of disappeared, which stunk. Okay, so this is the story of a girl. So we got 2 more stories. Why are we talking about Chills? Oh, because he's a channel of that size that, you know, like, once again, I'm not trying to throw shade at all, like, for real, but, like, I don't, like, I cannot make it through any of his videos. Like, I just can't. Like, I literally can't listen to it without, I just can't listen to it. It hurts my ears. Like, it legitimately, like, it's weird. Do I like fully grown pizzas? I do like fully grown pizzas, and I respect the individual. I don't know. Oh yeah, Lazy Masquerade. Those are very talented folk. Yeah, I would say that, yeah, the content itself. You like your pizza very angsty and immature. I'm probably sounding very, probably sounding immature right now. I'm 19 now, and this took place when I was 11 or 12 years of age. I've lived in Florida my entire life, born and raised here, and for the most part, the people are lovely here. That is, as long as it's still shit. Do I even get scared? I don't know. I probably get scared at things. I don't really I get scared of the ocean. I'm not a fan of the ocean. Like, as soon as I can't see below me or feel the bottom, I think I start to have an anxiety attack. That is, as long as it's still daylight. The night crowd is far less hospitable, and unfortunately, that is what my story is about. It was around 7 at night when my friends asked if I wanted to go fishing. Excited, I was like, sure. It sounded like a great time, night fishing with my buddies. My mother let me go, and I was excited to fish this pond near some apartments we lived at. This decision, however, was a mistake. After getting our gear into a smallish red wagon, we set off across the street to go on our nighttime adventure. We made jokes and cracks about gators in the pond, and the fishing itself was a blast. The part where it stops being so great was on the way back home when we took a long way home. Why would we do this? We were kids and friends. If you know one thing about friends as kids, you always want to hang out as long as possible, and you'll use any excuse to do it. The sun had already set, and I was walking slightly ahead of my friend. I'll call him Chris and Tommy. Chris was pulling the wagon, and Tommy was close by him, and we all were chatting it up when I turned around to add to the conversation, but soon noticed a silhouette of a man about 40 feet behind us. I was a bit unsettled and surprised, as all that was down here was grass and fences, and no one ever took this way. I informed Chris and Tommy someone was following us a bit. I informed Chris and Tommy someone was following us, but they brushed it off, not believing me at first. I imagined they thought I was trying to scare them and get them to look behind them. I kept insisting someone was following behind us, till they finally got the hint and looked. It was at this point I realized the silhouette of a man was now only 25 feet behind us. My friends' faces grew pale and even more filled with fear as suddenly the man... My friends' faces grew pale and even more filled with fear as suddenly the man began running towards us. I yelled for them to run, and when looking back, I saw our stalker's face. I'll never forget his face so long as I live. He was in his mid-40s, average height, and he had the most terrifying, angry look. Ashanti, last day of school tomorrow? Nice. That seems like a long time to be in school till June 17th. Or 16th, I guess. 17th. He was in his mid-40s, average height, and he had the most terrifyingly angry look on his face I've ever seen. We slipped through a fence and into an unknown neighborhood before pounding on the first door we found. An older gentleman opened his door and asked what was wrong. After telling him our story, he told us to hide behind his car, and he'd find this man and talk to him. He was gone for maybe 7 minutes, but it felt like hours when he finally returned. He explained to us the guy saw our wagon and thought we stole something. The older man didn't seem to believe the guy's story, and neither did we. We returned home and never told our parents anything. We were afraid we'd get in trouble if we did, And we never went night fishing ever again. That's pretty cool. This story, well, not this story, but the stream has over 500 people in it. We're about 530, 540 people, which is pretty ballin'. Thank you guys for clicking that like button to try and coax some more folks in here. It's been great. Who's my favorite horror narrator on YouTube? There was this one guy I loved who you know, unfortunately didn't get a lot of notoriety. Just a lot of success on YouTube really comes down to just like kind of lowest common denominator type trends. You know, a lot of people who started off in creepypasta narration and stuff, you know, eventually went to the true scary stuff. Some people went towards like the top 10 countdown stuff, which, you know, is kind of had a lot of success. And if you don't go down that route, you know, you might not necessarily get those views and those subsequent subscribers that a big person ends up getting eventually. Now, one of the channels that I loved, and I don't know if they're still around, they were called Night Terrors. Let me actually look them up. Night Terrors horror narration. I don't know, because I know. Well, there's a channel called Night Terror, but there's one. He was like an older man, an older gentleman, and oh yeah, there he is. So he's still stuck at about 1.8. Still stuck at about 1.8 thousand subscribers. But I'm gonna link him. He has a lot of bass in his voice. I linked it there if you guys want to go to it or not. But I actually would fall asleep. He wrote all of his own stories, and or actually, you know what I can do? I can just click on it, and you guys can hear it. I'm gonna pause the music real quick. I don't know if this sounds any different without any music to me, but oh.
You really shouldn't.
There he is.
Worry. I know it's scary, terrifying even being alone after so long, but it'll pass. All things do. And then it will be better. You'll see. Kira looked quizzically across her kitchen table.
I love this guy, dude. He's so freaking good.
He'd aged in the 4 years since she'd last seen him. His now receding hair flecked with grey, and his once toned physique had
So I just wanted to give you guys a taste of that, but yeah, I'll link him again here in case you guys want to click on it. But he was an awesome guy. I actually did a collab on my channel, like related to World War I, and yeah, he sounds like Vincent Price. Cashy said, when I saw that Jensen was on a Let's Read video, I couldn't watch it. You had to work yourself up to it. Yeah, if you're used to his usual comedic self, it's hard. But yeah, no, this guy Night Terrors deserved, you know, like, and it just makes me think, like, man, he's such an amazing talent, deserves to be heard by millions of people. Hi, Cashy. Deserves to be heard by millions of people, and it's just unfortunate whenever you see like just the general algorithm is not ever in his favor, you know, and it stinks because it's just like it's a talent unrecognized, you know. But yeah, go subscribe to that guy, or you know, he has quite a bit of content, so it definitely will, you know, keep you busy for a little bit. Samantha says, thank you for streaming today. My grandmother's in the hospital and it's keeping my mind off her. That's good. I'm sorry to hear that. So this story is about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. Yeah, he hasn't done any videos in quite some time here. B Smiley says, if you don't mind raw language and dark, super dark, true crime, Max Payne type atmosphere, great edits and great boss necks, and check out Deadbug Says. YouTube doesn't put him in algorithm because of the language. That sucks, yeah. Yeah, I definitely try to avoid saying any swear words too much. Okay. Last story of the night. It's a pretty lengthy one, so get some good content. Who's the owner of that voice? Oh, the one I just played, or... Yeah, his name's Night Terrors. And he's got like a moon. If you search by channels or sort by channels, he's got like a moon lit sky as his profile pic. Writes all of his stories. They're usually pretty long, like hour to... And it's just like there's something about the atmospheres you listen to it that you almost can't help but fall asleep, where he writes kind of like painfully meticulously. I feel like when you listen to it, because he writes all of his stories, and like it's wait, Cashew, did you not get notified of me streaming? Or because I feel bad that, yeah, this is like the last story, and I don't know if you were busy, or... And it's not a big deal. I was just like curious if YouTube didn't even know. Did you click the notification bell? Did you click it? Okay. This story begins when I was pretty young. Living in the home state of Mississippi, I was riding with my mother after we had just dropped my two brothers off at my grandmother's house. We pulled up to our destination, a small convenience store on the corner, just a few blocks away from my house. Now, you have to remember this was the 80s, so my mom had no issues leaving me alone in the car for a few minutes with the windows cracked open. Still, before she left, she turned around and said sternly, "You stay in the car, and don't open the doors for anyone." When she started making her way towards the store, I heard someone call out her name. She looked over by the entrance, where an old man I'd never seen before came up to greet her. My mom looked cheerful as she said hello and began chatting with the man. As they spoke, he looked over at me, a warm smile on his face. He seemed like a nice man, no signs of bad intentions, and my mom seemed to like him, so I smiled back. After a few moments, my mom walked into the store to get some groceries. The old man watched her go in before turning back towards me. Me being a kid and seeing him talking to my mom in such a friendly way, I felt comfortable talking to him, so I rolled down the window a bit more. He started asking me the typical questions you get asked as a kid you don't know. Wait, what? Oh, you did get the notification. Oh, no worries, no worries. I will forgive you this time. Grim4898 with the $2 says, love the stories, keep them coming. Absolutely, thank you, Grim. Sebastian Arnivas with the $1. Thank you for the doll hair. Okay. He started asking me the typical questions I guess you ask a kid you don't know. How old are you, son? What's your name? What kinds of toys do you like? I was having a perfectly fine time until the man made a complete 180-degree turn. The most haunting aspect of it, the reason why this stuck in my mind since that day, was that the only thing different was the words that came from his mouth. Everything else, his demeanor, expression, voice, stayed exactly the same friendly tone. I'm going to cut both your ears off, hang you by your legs, and slice your throat. The words flowed out of his gentle, still smiling face. I was so confused because in no other way did he seem the least bit offensive or dangerous. My childlike mind struggled to process the dark turn in conversation. He rose up away from the window, turned around, and calmly walked away, leaving me in a state of shock. A few minutes later, my mother emerged from the store. She saw the bewilderment on my face and asked me what happened. I couldn't explain myself. Or maybe I was just too scared to say anything. I don't know. My mom broke the silence of the ride home when she mentioned that the old man was called Mr. G. She said that her family knew him when she was younger, but she was surprised to see him because he'd been missing for over 10 years. For some reason I couldn't tell her what happened, even though I wanted to. That day marked the beginning of 2 years of me being secretly terrified of going to that store. The problem was that my mom took me there pretty much every time we went to visit my grandmother. Every single time we went there, the Mr. G would show up out of nowhere as soon as my mom went into the store. A year or so later, I had managed to at least tell my brother and cousins about my creepy encounters with that old man, and unsurprisingly, no one believed me. One day, my mother was in a rush to get there and wasn't able to drop off my older brother, so he was with me. The whole time we waited in the parking lot for my mom to come out, he kept trying to scare me, saying that Mr. G was right behind me. I was on edge, constantly scanning the area outside to make sure that the old man wasn't around. The car window behind me was cracked open a little more than usual, for some reason, just enough for someone's hand to reach in. There were a bunch of people standing around near the entrance of the store, grown men, all laughing and talking amongst themselves. As I looked at them, I could see all sort of turn away, as if they were trying to avoid seeing something. I felt As I looked at them, I could see them all sort of turn away, as if they were... As I looked at them, I could see them all sort of turn away, as if they were all trying to avoid seeing something. I felt a sudden kick in my back, and I turned around to find the terrifying image my brother, gasping for air, large wrinkly hands wrapped tightly around his throat. In disbelief, my eyes shift to look out the window where I see Mr. G standing outside the car, staring down at me with the same docile, smiling expression on his face. He was muttering something in a strange language I'd never heard before. He let my brother loose and slowly walked away from the car, around the store, and disappeared into the woods out back. The group of men who were there quickly dispersed, all going their separate ways and obviously avoiding eye contact with us as we sat in the car, 2 children crying hysterically. My mom burst through the store entrance, running to the car to check on us. We were still incredibly shaken, but my brother gathered himself enough to tell her that it was Mr. G. She stared at us for a few seconds with a mix of awe and terror on her face. She told us that the old man had passed away a few days prior at the age of 87. She said she would handle it. I didn't know exactly what she meant. I wish I could say that that was the last we saw of the man, but after another year had gone by, we went to that store for the last time. That time, my mom let my brother and I come into the store instead of leaving us in the car. We were on pins and needles the entire time. After an uneventful trip, we loaded back up the car and headed off to Grandma's house. My brother and I both got chills at the same time as we pulled out of the parking lot, so we reluctantly decided to look back. A stinging terror took hold of my entire body when I saw Mr. G standing in the middle of the street behind us, smiling and waving us goodbye. My brother and I screamed, and my mother reflexively hit the gas as hard as she could. The corner store was somehow burned down soon after that happened. I don't know who did it, if it was an accident or if anyone died. I never really spoke to my mom about the whole ordeal until I was about 16. She told me that Mr. G used to practice some dark forms of strange rituals, often making sacrifices and performing these rituals of various kinds. She never knew exactly why, but everyone used to think he was some big, scary, evil guy. She never had a personal problem with him because he was always so kind whenever she saw him, and I can't really blame her. Everyone just sat around and watched him get Strangled. Strangled by a old man ghost. Be Smiley the third with the $1. Thank you, Be Smiley. Oh man, what's my favorite ice cream flavor? Oh, you're gonna get me. You're gonna trigger me into buying some of that right now. God, it's so hard to. It's so. You know what sucks? One of the greatest accomplishments about the Western 21st century is all the ample amounts of food that our capitalist society has provided for us, but in the same fashion has made us so chubby. I almost sometimes wish, just for health's sake, we could just, they could shut down every grocery store and just force us to hunt and gather once in a while. But yeah, cookies and cream is definitely it. I love that stuff. And anything with chocolate peanut butter is amazing. Push-ups. No, believe me, I work out. But it's just all the greatest workouts in the world can't outwork out a shitty diet. After my first interview, do I want to collab with any other non-horror channels? Yeah, definitely. I love that interview. That was a lot of fun. I watch, not as much lately, but I used to watch just a lot of like channels that interview other channels and stuff and talk to them, and you just kind of get just a lot of banter and stuff and learn a lot of different things. And yeah, I love it. I love doing it. I love chatting with people, and I love going in depth about different conversations, and I seriously would love to do that more often. Publix brand Otter Paws. That sounds crazy. Natalia with the 5 late monies. Thank you. Thank you so much. Where can you see my photo? I am on Talk Like Steve Irwin. Oi. Today, we're gonna wrangle up a fucking croc. Do I write my own stories? No, I do not. I don't think I would be a very good writer. I mean, I guess I've read so many of these stories I probably could write something, but I think it's best to keep it legit. Too legit to quit. Lucifer on Netflix. I have heard of that, but I have not watched it yet. But I heard it's very good. Dairy Queen has a new peanut butter chocolate blizzard. Yeah, I've had it. It's amazing. Don't judge me, huh? Oh yeah, on Discord, original Ask Shirella. If you join the Discord, you can see my selfies in the selfie area. But guys, what should we say for the outro? I'm like so tired. Like super duper tired. I do have an Instagram, but not one where I show my face. It's at letsread.official. If you check the description down below, it has everything down there. You can, all the social media, all that kind of stuff. Skate fast and eat ass. Oh yeah. But yeah, guys. So I apologize that the stream has to come to an end here, but I will be reading my outro. But I need you guys and remember to tickle your pickle. That would be good. Anybody else got any other ideas? Happy Father's Day to all you dads and daddies out there. That's a good one. Even though it's a day late, I don't care. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story to submit, be sure to send them to my subreddit, r.let's.read.official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my... Oh shit, how am I messing this up right now? And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, a huge thank you to all the dads and daddies out there. We need you. Aww. Oh, Lexi Rosalios. With the $2 as the dinosaur, you should roar like, "Meow." Pterodactyl, huh? Meow. Is that a pterodactyl screech? Meow, meow. Dance for me, monkey, dance for me. But, bye guys. I don't want to leave, really, but I'm also... like, real tired, but the good news is that this video that you guys have all got to be behind the scenes and have fun with will be tickling your pickle tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So wherever if you're on the West Coast, it comes out at 4 p.m. If you're in England, it comes out... I don't really know England's time difference, but you can do the math. But yeah, guys. Yeah, join Discord, keep the party going over there. A lot of cool people over there. Remember, no drama. We don't want no drama, want no drama. And, yeah, love you guys. Stay tuned. Hit that notification bell to be yada yada, so you know when shit's going down. And, yeah, guys, thanks so much for being here. This was a real pickle tickling day, so... And I'm glad you enjoyed the new microphone. I appreciate it. It was a very, very good investment, and I'm happy I did it, so. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye.